We're looking at the gene words, and I said we're going to look at 4 gene words today. We're looking at G for garden, G for gateway, G for generosity, G for grooming. Now, we're on garden, and I was saying that a love relationship is like a garden, like a beautiful garden. And just as you would handle your garden, that is how you should handle your love relationship. And I'm going to just tease out a few similarities between a garden and a love relationship so that it will help all of us to know what we need to do to build and sustain stronger love relationships. So the first thing I said is that a garden does not cultivate itself. It doesn't spring into existence by itself. It is always the work of someone. It is always someone wanting it to happen. It is a deliberate decision of somebody. And that is also like your relationship. Your relationship was not born. It was created. It was made. You had to go out of your way and seek your loved one. Or you had to make a decision to decide, yes, this is the person I am going to go with. The second point I made is that a love relationship does not take care of itself. It does not give, a garden does not take care of itself. It did not give birth to itself. It does not take care of itself. It has to be tended. Someone has to take care of it. You can't neglect your relationship and still expect it to survive and to be sustained. The third thing is that a garden develops weeds from time to time, and these have to be uprooted. They don't have to be trimmed. They have to be uprooted. In the same way, there are things in a love relationship that are the same, have the same effect as weeds on a garden. And we're going to look at a few. The first one is unresolved issues, unresolved issues. Every relationship would have issues from time to time. It doesn't matter how wonderful the two of you are. There will be issues that would arise. And when they do arise, it is important for the two of you to sit down and resolve them. Don't pretend the issues don't exist. Always address the issues as and when they come. The second, unforgiveness. Last week we dealt with forgiveness, and if you look at, we dealt with how to forgive and how to seek forgiveness. And the notes from that would help you with this, will help you take care of this weed, which is unforgiveness. If you do not want to forgive any offense, then a love relationship is not for you, and so get out of it. And then the third, in line of what is the weeds, we're looking at the weeds that destroy a garden and the kind of weeds that can also destroy a love relationship. The third is resentment. Resentment can make you even wish the death of your spouse. You know, you can your resentment can build to the point where you wish your spouse were dead. So you've got to uproot it before it kills everything. Lack of openness. There are people who are not open, and if you are the kind of person who cannot be open, then please spare yourself and somebody else and don't get into any love relationship. Because one of the requirements of a love relationship is the requirement to be open. Then insecurity. Insecurity can kill your relationship as quickly as nothing else can. So be careful about this weed and uproot it. And then the last one, pride. Well, it is said that pride goes before a fall, but in a love relationship, pride will kill your love relationship and will kill it very, very quickly. So those are the weeds that can destroy your love relationship. Now we'll go on to the similarities between the garden. So I'm returning to the similarities between a garden and a love relationship. We had already done 4, and this is we had done 3. This is number 4. The beauty of a garden depends on the amount of attention you give to it and how much you know and understand about flowers. The beauty of a garden depends how much attention you give to it. In the same way, the beauty and strength of your relationship depends on how much time you are willing and ready to invest in it and how much you know about yourself and about the opposite sex. Just like garden. 5, a garden takes work. In the same way, a love relationship takes a lot of work. 6, a garden needs to be protected. You know, there are always these animals that would enter a garden and trample over the flowers, trample all the flowers. And if you value your garden, you build a hedge around it so that the animals cannot get into it. In the same way, you need to build a hedge around your relationship so that, quote and unquote, the animals that can destroy marriages and relationships do not get access to come in to destroy it. I'd like to look at a few of those that I'll call animals. And remember, I'm putting it in quotes. The animals refer to garden, but this is an imagery for all those third parties that can mess your relationship up. And for a relationship, the animals are third parties. And your work. Your work can become like an animal that enters a garden and just destroys the flowers. Because some people get themselves so buried in their work that they have no time for their spouses and for their homes and for their relationship at all. If you do that, you are like somebody who is cultivated a beautiful garden and allowed goats and dogs to come and play in there. You've got to be very careful about these. Ill health can also become an animal in your garden, and that is why you need to take good care of yourself. You need to help your partner to take good care of himself or herself. You need to adopt a very healthy lifestyle. Otherwise, you'll put pressure on your love relationship. So that is the first J word, J for garden. Now we'll go quickly to the second word, J for gateway. J for gateway. Now, I don't want to spook you, but the fact is, we live in a spiritual world. There are people who think that, oh, this is a physical world, that everything about this world is just what you see. No, that is not the case. We live in a spiritual world. It's a physical world, but there are spiritual forces that are roaming all over, and their target is to try to get a human life and destroy, to get access to a human soul and twist it and turn it over. And they are seeking a gateway into the human being. And one of the most effective and powerful gateways into the human soul is sex. So whoever you're having a sexual relationship with, you are opening your gateway to that person. Now, in a stable relationship, in a committed relationship, you don't only open the gateway to your soul, to your partner, but you make your partner the guard, the gatekeeper to your gateway. And that is why you need to treat your spouse carefully and with love. Because if your spouse doesn't feel your love and has some sense of bitterness, he or she may not play the gateway role, the gatekeeper role that he needs or she needs to play. So remember that. Whenever you go outside your committed relationship to have an affair, what you have done is that you have sidelined your gatekeeper and thrown the gates to your soul wide open. And any evil spirit, any power of darkness that wants to harm you can take advantage of it. And that is why an affair is serious. An affair is not about your partner. It's about yourself. It's about you protecting yourself. Now, when your gateway is breached, you may not see it immediately. But what will happen is that you begin to suffer reverses in life. Just when some doors are of opportunity about to open to you, then bam, it is slammed in your face. Just when things are beginning to take off, then something comes and knocks everything down. And sometimes you wonder, what is happening? What is happening? Well, watch your emotional life. Watch your sexual life. Your sexual life is your gateway. Are you protecting that gateway? Do you have the right person protecting your gateway? Or have you flung it open with your many sexual partners? And therefore, there's nobody at the gate. You've thrown it open and anyone can enter. Pay attention to that. Value yourself a little and protect yourself a little. So let's quickly go on to the next J word. Is J for generosity, but we'll take a little commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll go to J for generosity.
Thought-provoking, motivational, inspirational, attitude, values, faith, soul-inspiring content, value for money. New Look, the magazine that reports on our values, attitudes, and faith for discerning people. Rover Report Monthly Magazine. Your copies from all Shell shops, Total shops, and the supermarket near you. Or call 0302-231188 for subscription.
Because of the light of we are operating in an oven, it's really hot in here. And so the technical guys needed a little break there to put a few things ready so that we don't curtail this broadcast. Now, the next J word is J for generosity. Listen, one of the reasons, if you do not know, let me tell you this. One of the reasons you have somebody in your life is because that person thought you were generous. You know, when we are courting, we are very, very generous. And so the person looks at your generosity and thinks that, oh, my future will be secured with you. I will be well taken care of by you. And so that is why you have somebody in your life. So if you stop being generous, you are undermining your relationship big time. And in this respect, I'm not talking about being generous with the material things and with money. No, that's one level of generosity. That is important. Everyone loves a gift, so keep the gifts coming, especially if there is no reason for bringing the gift. Don't bring the gift and then seek something else. Let the gift be without any ulterior motives. But there's another aspect. There are other aspects, 3 aspects to generosity here, in addition to the physical one. So let's take a look at it. Time. 1, time. You've got to learn to be generous with your time. Now, when we are courting, we have a lot of time. Oh, we can go to the lady's house and sit there all night. Then suddenly we marry and we are too busy to even ask, how did your day go? You've got to continue to be generous with your time. The second, you've got to be generous with your words. You've got to be generous with your words. There are words that are not generous. If you are angry and you are lashing out, you are not being generous. Generosity implies that you always think of the effect of the word that is coming out of your mouth. And you've got to do this. If that word will not make your partner happy, if that word will not enhance the self-image of your partner, then that word should not be spoken. Don't use words as daggers in your relationship to hurt your partner. When you do that, you are being very unkind. So be generous with your words. Now, be generous with your actions. That's the third aspect of generosity. Be generous with your actions. So, for instance, run a bath for your spouse. If you're a man, run a bath for your spouse. Bring your spouse breakfast in bed. That would always be appreciated. That is, I am assuming you have a good bedroom. Now, so your partner is not well. Don't rush out of the house. Call the office and tell them I will be late, and stay a little bit more with your. That is a generous action, and your partner would appreciate it. You call home because your partner is not well and find out, my dear, how are you doing? You close and go home quickly because your partner was not well when you were leaving home. That is being generous with your actions. And remember, someone fell in love with you because he or she thought you were generous. Don't lose this very attractive trait. Now, so we've done 3 J words. Let's go to 2 J words. Let's go to the third. Grooming. The word grooming has several meanings, but for our discussion, I'm using grooming to meet neat and very attractive, to make neat or attractive. Now, there is a cute saying. There's a saying, one of those funny sayings. It says, a man marries a woman hoping she will not change, and she does. A woman, on the other hand, marries a man hoping he will change, and he does not. Now, this has to do with grooming. When it comes to grooming, both men and women have a lot to complain about. For instance, men often are dismayed to find that beautiful woman they married, who was always well groomed, now no longer takes care of herself and takes care of her grooming. She's let herself go. Now, yes, of course, I understand that when children come in, it becomes very difficult to be as trim and as neat and polished as you were before. But at least, remember, it has effect on your relationship. So make an effort. Make an effort to look a little better. In grooming, one of the images that have stuck to me is the image of the mother of a boy I was in secondary school with. We went home from school one day, and her mother had polished and was in the hall. And this was a woman who was a housewife. So I said, my friend, is your mother going out? I said, no, my mother does this to prepare to welcome my father. My father should be coming in any moment. And my mother always makes sure that 30 minutes before my father walks through the gate, she is polished and waiting for him, so that the side that greets him is always an attractive one. Now, you may not be able to do this because your schedule may not permit you. But at least remember that it is important for your man to see you well-groomed as often as is possible. And whilst I am at this, let me just say to the men, you want your wife to groom herself better, she also would like to do it. But remember, for a woman, grooming herself is expensive. So when you are drawing up your budget, Mr. Man, can you please, don't just make provision for chop money. Make provision for grooming money as well. So make provision for saloon money, for hair to money as well. But it is not only the men who have issues to talk about. Women also have issues with men when it comes to grooming. There are too many men who don't care. They just don't care how they appear. They can step out of the home dressed as if they are working in a garden. Oh, not good enough. They can go home and drop everything everywhere. Their shoes, one pair here, one pair here. Those are the men who every morning wake up and ask, my dear, have you seen my belt? Well, listen, your wife doesn't put on that belt with you. So learn to put your things properly, away properly. Now, let's look at a few tips on grooming. 1, remember that your partner will love to see you taking better care of yourself. 2, for men, make provision in your budget for the grooming of your wife. 3, brush your teeth before you come to bed. 4, use deodorant. 5, don't repeat your underwear without washing it. And this applies particularly to a certain gender, but I'm not going to mention the gender. So, 6, remember that in Ghana, we find hair in the armpit offensive. I know that other parts in the world have become very, very liberal about this, but in Ghana, we do not approve of hair in the armpit, so shave your armpit. 7, whenever possible, seek the feedback from your partner about what you are wearing before you step out of the house. Don't just dress and move. Go to your partner and say, how do I look? Am I looking good? 8, don't come to bed smelling of alcohol. 9, don't come to bed smelling of the kitchen. So, because listen, foul scents and odors, they kill libido, or libido, however that word is pronounced. Now, if you don't take care of your grooming seriously, you are saying to your partner that you don't care about the relationship and you don't care about him or her. Now, I said, so we have handled J for garden, J for gateway, J for generosity, and J for grooming. I think there's a lot of time to sneak in a bonus word, J for growth. Now, one of the purposes of marriage is to help you to grow as a person, to grow to become a more mature person. The petty irritations you are dealing with in your relationship, the things that drive you up the wall, now take another look at them. They are supposed to help you become a better person. So don't react negatively to them. Embrace them, and then you'll see how much of a better person you become. Well, once again, I apologize for the break we suffered earlier, and I'd like to thank you sincerely for sticking with us. I will now pause here and take the few questions that time will permit us to take. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's go.
All right. Okay, we would want to say thank you for joining us to George Dugbe and Mavis Atremensa, Jovial, Nanasa Biadipa, Dorothy Osenyako, Amobia Bosompa, Ofolia Mega V. Thank you all for joining us.
Okay, Andrew is saying that what if he shows up in bed smelling like sweet wine?
No comment, Andrew.
Okay, then
no, good. If the scent is positive and it's a kind of scent that is not offensive, it aids, because human beings, we respond to scents. That is why, have you realized that when we are walking past each other, we smell each other? It's a very unconscious act, but we do that. And when the scent is positive and nice, you like the person. If it's offensive, you are bored. You don't like the person. So always make sure that the scent that comes towards your partner is one that will make you excited.
Uncle, this question is from Evans. Uncle, what if someone enters the garden and destroys it?
Are you talking about an affair? That's why I said that you've got to protect your garden from the animals, from the third parties, and I regarded that it falls under the third party. The first thing you have to note is, what have you put in place to protect your garden from being breached by these third parties, by these animals? So take a look at this, and then take the steps you need to take to protect yourself, protect your partner, and protect your relationship.
All right, Uncle, but this question is from David Mowley. I'm 45 years. I'm not married, but I always have issues with ladies when it comes to telling them the truth about myself. This is because I'm working, but I earn 600 cedis a month. That is where he ends, but I'm sure he's asking about...
What's the name?
David.
No, David, I would advise you to try and go back to school, or to go and pick up learning a skill, so you can add value to yourself. 600 cedis in Ghana today is not that much. I'm sure you're a very decent person and you are hardworking, but it is possible to add value to yourself. And when you add value to yourself, what the market pays you would also go up. And I really would wish that you are able to earn and command a little bit more than the 600.
Uncle, Matilda says, good afternoon, Uncle Ebo. You are looking so good.
Thank you, Matilda. The ladies here haven't said it, so thank you.
From Nana Sabia, Uncle, he told me not to put my Bible on my bed and that it's not nice. Uncle, I find it strange. Please enlighten me.
Hey, what you're asking me to do is difficult too. I do not. Why is he offended by your Bible in the bed? Or are you the kind of person who reads your Bible all the time? That even when he has come and he's touching you, you are reading your Bible or something? I don't really understand. Otherwise, the boyfriend.
Yes, please.
This is somebody you haven't married. Ask him what his problem is. So talk with him. Ask him what is it. Your Bible on your bed, I think it's one of the best places for your Bible to be, isn't it?
From Mimi. Uncle, this grooming topic is sensitive. I like a man who takes good care of himself, but most of them don't clean up for just one woman. How do you know he cleaned up for you?
Oh, young lady, why are you making yourself so miserable? Why don't you believe that he cleaned up for you? Why? Has he given you any reason to suspect? But at least the bigger point she's making still stands, that women love it when their men groom themselves. Listen, men, women like to boast about their men. They like to be able to look at you and say, that's my man going. And they love it when other girls are admiring you because you are spot on. So let's make the women in our lives proud, shall we?
Okay, Uncle, this is from Ifwa. How do you handle a guy who doesn't care about how they look when they are stepping out?
Whoa, that is about 65% of men. It's difficult, but let him talk with him. Let him understand that he can do better. Talk with him.
From Dachihima Pearl. Uncle, thanks so much. But my question is, anytime I touch my fiance's phone, it becomes a tug of war. And I feel very embarrassed. What can I do about this?
Does he work with national security? What secrets are there on his phone that he will fight you if you touch it? So have a chat with him. Have a chat with him. Whilst you are doing that, make sure that your phone also does not become out of bounds to him.
From Poma, I'm very generous with my time when it comes to.
You know that thing can happen. Well, in my case, everybody knows that my R and my L they are very, very friendly. So, but welcome to the club.
Oh. I am very generous with my time when it comes to your place. So when do I get a free ticket?
Oh, I have news for you. You can pick up an early bird ticket for 60 cedis. I think that is a wonderful deal, isn't it?
Okay, Uncle, this is from Mr. Tufo. Bible on bed, pa. Maybe he feels guilty seeing it because he wants to do this thing. But ask him.
All right, Tufo, I think you have something there. So I hope you heard Tufo that maybe the Bible stands in the way or something. In that case, don't take it off. Put it there. In fact, build a permanent stand on the bed for the Bible.
I think that there's Ni Lante is asking. He's talking about the underwear. Repeat wearing of the underwear. It says, never repeat underwear without washing it. Repeat underwear, pa. Then Ifwa says,
it will amaze you how many people. You know there are people who wear. They wear, I wash later. Then they wake up one day and they have worn all of it, but they must go out. That is when they go and pick the pile of the ones they've worn and begin to smell them to pick the one that is the least offensive. So there are people who do that, and it is not good. It's definitely not good. When you're an adult, don't repeat an underwear without washing it.
This from Aramide Lawal.
And don't wear an underwear with holes inside. Some people say, nobody will see it. No. You know, when the things you are wearing under are good, there's a certain confidence that comes into your step. So give yourself that confidence. Make sure that if anything happens to you and we have to take off your dress, even if you're in a coma, you don't come out of the coma to say, please don't take off my dress. So do yourself a favor.
This from Aramide Lawal. Some men don't care for the opinions of their partners when it comes to how they dress. I think it's...
Yeah, those are small boys. They are yet to grow. I hope they grow. You must care because the way you dress affects your partner. It affects the standing of your partner with her peers. You know, when a man is not dressed well, we don't confront the man. What we say is that, what is his wife doing? Or the woman, why? When he was leaving home, didn't his wife see it? When you are not dressed well, society will not attack you. We attack your wife. So, for her sake, dress well.
From Nana, Uncle, what do you do when your work demands more of your time to the extent that even when you come home, you are immediately called back?
But you'll not be called back every day. And even in that kind of job, once in a while you'll get some day off, you'll get some time off. When you get those times off, make sure that you spend it only with your family. Sometimes in the weekend, you are free. Don't dash off. Stay home with your partner. Let them know I am here for you. When your partner knows that when the time permits, you make time for them. Oh, they are patient. They can wait for the right time, for your time.
Uncle from Elikem, is it true that when you put on weight as a woman, your husband loses interest in you?
No, not necessarily. Of course, you cannot keep your Coca-Cola bottle shape all through. But I'm talking about grooming. Just groom yourself well.
Uncle from Mimi, what do you do about a man who ignores you for days but starts calling or texting you when you stop checking on them? Then this happens repeatedly.
So, don't call. Since if you don't do it, they will do it. Leave it for them to do it. They're showing you how to how to relate to them.
Uncle Abel, he has more shoes than I have. He has more clothes than I have.
Whoa.
In fact, he looks better than I do sometimes. What do
Whoa.
I do?
Whoa. Is this your husband or your boyfriend? If it's your husband, let him make time to buy things for you. Why is he buying it all for himself? I said men should look good and dress well, but we don't require a lot. This dress I'm wearing, I can wear it next week to a wedding. You know, because I'm a man. It will not create too much. But a woman cannot repeat what she has worn to a wedding to another wedding. So, young man, help your wife. Help her build her wardrobe a little bit small. Why?
Uncle, this is from Akofa. Uncle Abel, please, I think you need to treat these third parties as a subject. Some men, some don't have shame at all. They don't even mind if the man is married.
Yeah, okay, I hear you. That's a point. I've taken it.
Uncle, what about the people who have strange fashion senses?
Oh, the queer people. Well, try to understand where they're coming from. Try to understand where they're coming from. And then see whether they are dressing this way out of ignorance or lack of exposure, or they are dressing this way because they really want to. There are people who don't know how to dress. They don't know how to mix colors. They don't know what would work on their body. But if you criticize them, they'll say, oh, that's the way I like it. No, they don't know better. So find out why they dress that way, and see if you cannot introduce them to better things, and things that work better, and let's see what happens.
Uncle, you spoke about responding to issues, resolving issues as and when they arrive. So if probably you've spoken about something over and over again, will you advise that once it happens, you probably keep quiet over it just because you've spoken over it?
If you do keep quiet, it will result in resentment, and one day you'll be wishing your partner was dead. So as often as it comes up, keep addressing it. But look for better ways of addressing it, because you see, you remember the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So this time, change the approach and see whether you won't get better results.
From Nilante, Uncle, can the garden never grow weeds? And how can you ensure it's for eternity?
A garden would always grow weeds. So just be vigilant. Just be, that's why it needs constant attention. So don't go and do something and think that, oh, I'm done with it. Now I don't have to worry about it. No, with a garden, the garden called a love relationship, you've got to go back to your garden every time, regularly. Don't go to sleep. Tend that garden.